rise up in the morning beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horses kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Welcome to Burning Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy.
It is.
Yeah, I think it's I think this is gonna be one of those once in a generation type moments. Like shit seems like it's really about to fall apart, and I'm not sure how it's gonna go, but it just seems like shit's about to fall apart.
It does everywhere you look. From we ain't got no water to you look at the price of diesel fuel to price of groceries to
yeah, that water thing's gonna become a big issue.
it is.
Most people think, but I don't know. At the same time, you think like there's just so much shit, and you can't worry about all of it. So like,
Yep.
I don't know. You worry about what you can, and I guess kind of pay attention to the rest. But that's about all you can do.
Yep. I make sure my horses are shod and cows are fat and happy, and other than that, that's about all I got time to worry about.
Yeah, like if it comes to the day when I'm not bitching at my kids to eat, that's when I know it's rough because that's because there's no food left. I don't have to bitch at him anymore because we don't have anything.
Yeah.
So I guess if I got to bitch at him to finish their damn supper, that's still a decent enough economy. So
yeah. Yeah.
It's weird. I keep wondering where all this is gonna head because I don't know. It really feels like shit's about to pop off, and I don't know. Like I'm not sure exactly how it's going to, but something big is about to happen, and I think it's more than anything it's gonna be an economic deal, and it is gonna suck. I wonder if they're gonna start setting up border walls like on the western border of Texas to keep Californians out.
They probably need to. I mean, I wish Utah would do it, honestly.
Well, California used to do it back in the 30s for the Okies. They'd set up pickets and border guards there at the highway crossings and turn back Okies because there was no work to be had, and so. And with a bunch of used to be with a bunch of poor people came a bunch of unions, but now it's a bunch of rich yuppies comes the unions.
Yeah, and they're buying up all the good cow country and putting subdivisions and golf courses and shit in it.
I know, and then they bitch at people for feeding cattle in a feedlot, and we're like, well. We gotta be more efficient because there's not enough land to grow grass-fed beef anymore. You took it all. Yeah,
you've got a golf course and a swimming pool there where we used to feed cattle. So
right, and that golf course is always green, even though we're in a water shortage. And,
It's funny how that works. Golf course is always green. Nobody else can get any water, but
I've never. Outside of like a few little bitty like municipal golf courses through southeast Colorado, I've never seen a dry brown golf course.
Yep.
Outside of the where it's supposed to be, like in some of those Arizona courses where they have the desert on just the edge of the rough, like. But outside of that, like you still have a manicured golf course right next to it, and it's but and I don't hate it. I like to play golf, but I just it's funny how agriculture gets the blame for a lot of the water usage, and you realize how much you fuckers use in the city. It's wild.
Yeah.
And my dad was was very strict about not washing vehicles because he didn't want to waste water.
Yeah.
And then like I think there was a legit cause behind it, but then it more than anything just became because that's what what he said. So fuck you. Like we're not washing vehicles around here, damn it. And my mom would go rogue on him, and she'd make us kids wash the Suburban down, and he'd bitch about how she was wasting water, and so yeah, it's always been a issue for around my house, but like more and more I look at it and I know some of his stuff is kind of crazy, but I was like, man, he's right. They're gonna just suck and it's nobody's fault in particular. They're just trying to. It's the system that it is. Like you're raising a commodity crop, so like the only way to get a good price. Well, I mean the price is what the price is.
Yeah.
You whether you hedge it or whatever, but more than anything, you just need more of it.
Yeah.
That's how you just got to have more of that commodity. Like there's no distinguishing your product really.
Yep.
And the way you get more is you irrigate it and just put more water on it. And so like and it's all subsidized. So like there's no incentive for them to not do it. So they just pump water until that well runs dry, and then they'll find another well.
Yep.
Drill a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how is the water situation out your way? I'm sure you're more live water and runoff and like canal irrigation out there. So a little different set of laws and whatnot, but it's kind of it's still kind of the same kind of setup. So what's the situation out that way?
It's honestly, it's looking better than it was a year ago, but it's still not great. I mean, we're probably running at 80% of average.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Which is pretty good, but there's no snowpack holding them. It's usually, you'd be running 80 to 100% average, and there'd be snowpack still on the mountains. But you look at the mountains, and there's nothing up there. So once this goes, it's gone. There's no reserve, and this will be gone in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think we were running at like 30%, something like that.
Ooh.
And yeah, the only snowpack we got is just like those little bitty pockets here and there. That's all we got left.
Yep.
And, it hadn't rained. But in the feedlot, I don't mind it. Like the dust gets a little bit finer when it, so I like a little shower here and there. To knock down the dust, but I don't need a whole lot of moisture. But I understand. So I don't bitch about the moisture too awful much. But like I said, I will bitch because as a cowboy, you are obligated to.
Oh, exactly.
I mean, if a good cowboy is a good bitcher.
Yeah. You when there's too much rain, you bitch. When there's too little rain, you bitch.
Mm-hmm.
When
But you always bitch in an optimistic manner. Like you don't go farmer and go Debbie Downer because like, oh, it's never gonna rain again.
Yeah.
And you can bitch about how fucking dry it is, but it's always like, well, it's gonna rain one of these days. And you leave it on a light note. That is the farmer, or that is like the rancher cowboy mentality versus the farmer mentality.
Yep.
And but yeah, we're gonna bitch. It's required.
Oh yeah.
For cowboying and So, but I don't mind the dry weather. And it's, and it hasn't got hot. But if it did get hot here, it'd be a dry heat. And, and I like it. And like I said, I'd rather not be slopping through muddy corrals in a 90 to 100 degree heat. So I'll take the dry. I'll pray for rain somewhere else.
Yep.
Somewhere else that needs it, because I don't particularly need it. It's it's just fucking dry everywhere. And then Montana just got butt fucked with a flood, and
yep.
like it's just one of those things. Like Mother Nature is just a dirty, rotten cunt at times. You know.
Oh yeah.
You love her, but there's times she is Amber Heard is like the picture of Mother Nature.
Mother Nature, yes.
She is
yes.
so hot, but she is so psycho crazy at the same time.
Yeah.
Like she'll give you the best sex of your life and then shit right on your pillow.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's I don't know that's funny. It just it cracks me up the hubris that people when they talk about this climate change stuff. And I like I said I've said it on here before. I'm a believer in like we can't change the weather, but we can damn sure make it worse.
Oh yeah.
Like so there's some stuff that is 100% like man-made phenomenon, but like that Dust Bowl drought was going to happen.
Oh yeah.
But it wouldn't have been that bad if they hadn't plowed up 30 million acres of grass.
Yep.
So it's one of those things like we can't change the weather, but we can damn sure make the conditions, day-to-day conditions a lot worse. And,
yep.
That's what I fear with this water situation. Like there's people with grasslands in southeast Colorado that are getting blown in with dust, and people are like plowing up CRP that's been in CRP since they started doing those reforms back in the late 30s and the 40s.
Yep.
And because the CRP payments went down, and it's just like, oh God, when you're on the government you're on it one way or the other for always. Like they got it there always, and now people are plowing up CRP. And it's droughty as fuck, and now it's the dirt's blowing, and they're taking the county, they're taking the maintainers down the road, and cleaning out fence lines and highline poles and just dirt piled up, and it's like it's going right back to where we were, and it's like, God, do we not fucking learn ever?
Yep. Yep. Well, and going back to that being on the government subsidy stuff, I know some guys back home that, man, they, for as long as I can remember, they cuss the elk in the wintertime. The elk come down under the winter range, and, they get in their haystacks, and God, they cuss the elk, but they get a nice subsidy check. So if a guy wants to go shoot an elk, they're not going to let him in there. Well, now the state has changed it to where if you want that check for the damage the elk are causing, you got to let a couple hunters in. And oh man, are they upset about that.
Oh, I bet.
Well, here's your chance to fix the problem rather than bitch about it. But instead of that, you're going to bitch about how the government's screwing you now.
Yep. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's the problem with ranchers and well, I kind of just anybody that lives in rural America, like they got a good head on their shoulders.
Yep.
Until it gets like time to organize and do shit, and everybody's too goddamn stubborn to get along with everybody else, and nothing gets done. It's like when we tried to do the truck convoy here in America, and it was just like, wait, what the fuck are we doing? What's the message? Yeah. And so like you'd see videos of some trucks, and you're just like, but so where are they at? Because like Canada, they had like, it was almost like the Santa NORAD tracker. They just had like the what's the chick that they put in jail? Tamara Licht. They had like the Tamara Licht tracker. Just going from Vancouver all the way over to wherever. Canadian. Was it Ottawa? I think.
Ottawa.
Like
yep.
Yeah. But like they had. You could follow it on social media, and like they, everybody is posting videos from an overpass or whatever, and just seeing this convoy, and you'd see a few, like there'd be a few videos that go viral here in the U.S.
Yep.
They were all the same video.
Yeah.
And so you're like, and then like when they finally got to D.C., nobody like the regular DC people were just like mildly annoyed by the traffic.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But I guess that's when you when you get duped into storming the Capitol, you get a little bit leery about going near Washington D.C. again after that after that whole deal. Like that's it was such a dumb move to go into the Capitol that day. Like they lost. Like that movement lost so much credibility, and like normal, like regular, kind of middle of the road city people are just like, oh, that fucking guy, like you know, like it just, and so by the time like the trucker convoy rolled around, like it had no momentum because nobody really wanted to go into D.C. because nobody wanted to get thrown in jail for the next 50 years.
No, and nobody was wearing a Viking horn hat, so
yeah, that poor guy. His big crime was being not right in the head, and now he's in prison for quite some time.
Yep.
But the guy that says we're gonna storm the Capitol, he's scot-free, and they talked to him, and he said, "I am not an FBI agent," and they said, "Good enough for us."
Yeah. Okay, we'll believe you. Yep.
Yeah, everybody else they put in solitary confinement, but Ray Epps, they're like, "Sounds good, buddy."
Yep.
But hey, you know our government would never do anything. Sinister and you know, what would you call unholy? You know, dishonest. They wouldn't do anything like that.
No. They never feed the president stuff to talk about over a teleprompter because he can't form a coherent thought.
See, this is the biggest problem with this the January 6th commission is it's bad television. Like it's really not. It's just a kangaroo court, and it's very obviously a kangaroo court.
Yep.
And the problem with is like I want to know everything. Like Trump was doing some shady shit on that day. But we haven't heard anything about what Pelosi and the rest of them, like, I want to know, like, if we're going to have a real January 6th commission, like, I want to hear from all of the Capitol Hill police. I want to hear from who all made the security decisions on the, you know, like, I want, like, good people from the Republican side to be able to cross-examine and call their own witnesses and then televise all that because then it'll show just what a shit show all of it was. And then maybe people will realize like, oh, these are morons that we're dealing with. Like these guys are all fucking stupid.
Yeah.
From the president all the way on down. They're all fucking clowns. But no, we get the Democrat version and it's still pretty entertaining, like the Trump's throwing ketchup dishes up against the wall and trying to choke out Secret Service guys. I mean, it's really a fascinating piece of writing that they're doing. But and it's like from like secondhand. They're essentially hearsay, like in an actual court of law would not be allowed.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, it's funny. It's really funny, and I wish there was some good, or even not even some good people. Like put some crazies, like some people that are just as crazy as, you know, if you're gonna put these, you know, Jamie Raskin and Liz Cheney and all these other people, like let's put Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert on there too. Like let's like really amp up the crazy. And plus, those two are both kind of sexy, and I mean, like Lauren Boebert's real sexy, but Marjorie Taylor Greene for an older gal, she's kind of hot too.
Yeah.
And so let's make it real fucking entertaining. I mean, I would enjoy the shit out of that. Well, like regardless of what they find out, like I want to see it all. Like I will eat so much popcorn watching that.
Yeah, Bud Light is they're gonna increase their profit margins on this.
Oh man, and yeah, because they're all just gonna make these big like grandiose speeches, shitting on the other side, and it has nothing to do with the topic at hand.
Yep.
It's just another campaign speech, and then and then you know they'll have 5 minutes for questioning, and they'll use 4 minutes and 32 seconds with this speech, and then like have to fight for more time. And I mean,
Yep.
it's just how it always goes. But
Oh yeah.
like, let's make it real entertaining. And like, if they call call Trump up, like call Pence, call Pelosi, all of them. Like, and
Yep.
make sure Pelosi's wearing low cut. Did you see that picture of her that was floating around?
I didn't.
Oh, Nancy Pelosi has got some absolute cannons, dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Tell a story real quick, and I'll find it, and I'll pull it up.
All right. Well, let's see. So about the mid-February, I had an old cow calf this year, and it's just one of those nights when it's kind of slow, kind of boring. 2:00 in the morning, and so I decided I'm going to go tag and ban this calf. And well, she puts her head down and kind of gives me the old whoa. Comes at me, and I think, yeah, I'm cowboy enough. I can outrun her. So I grabbed the calf. The next thing I know, and the whole time I'm taking a video of it because I want to put it on my Instagram and look really cool. And the next thing I know, I'm upside down watching udders swing underneath me, going, "Where's my phone? Where's my light?" And holy shit, that hurt. So just when you think you're really good, you get humbled a little bit.
Just for like, I guess, public service announcement. If you do a Google search, Nancy Pelosi's tits with the safe search off, there's some shocking content right away. Appears to be Photoshop, but there, son of a bitch. All right. So then what happened?
Then next morning, I posted on Instagram, and next morning I get a call from Scott Hall, my brother-in-law. And he says, "I thought you were handy enough to know better than to do anything like that." And I was like, "Well, it's late. I'm bored." He's like, "Yeah, you knew she was going to do that when she first bellered at you." I was like, "Well, yeah, I knew exactly what she's going to do. I just thought I was a little bit faster in my pack boots than what I really was."
All right, I think I got it pulled up here, maybe. Yeah, Aaron sent this to me. And yeah, it's like, say what you will about old Nancy, but she has aged well in the old memory category.
See, I think they could make this whole January 6th committee hearing a little bit more interesting if they just do feet pics of AOC.
Oh man, yeah, somebody would pay for it.
I guarantee it.
Guaranteed. All right, I'm getting this zoomed in so we can. I think if these are her daughters, they're gross. Like, Nancy should be ashamed of her daughters, but not of those tig old biddies though. Man, I'm telling you, like, it's pretty impressive. And like, keep in mind, she's 80 something.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like,
not what you'd expect.
You're like, not bad, Nancy. Like,
yeah,
you might be a kind of a vile lizard person, but
yep.
I bet on her way up the ladder, she fucked like a demon.
I just about guarantee it.
I mean, when you're pecking cannons like that, there's no way she's not gonna fuck.
Right.
Yeah, I bet Nancy got down.
No, there's only one way up sometimes, Matt. There's only one way up.
Well, that's kind of how they do it over in California. Kamala did the same thing. I wonder, does Kamala got huge tits? Because AOC's got huge tits. We know Nancy's got huge tits.
I don't know. I can't get past the word salad and that cackle laugh to pay attention.
Well, see, if we do find a good video, we'll put it on mute so we don't have to hear it.
That's good thinking.
This will get me put on a list. I just don't know if it's a good list or a bad list. Kamala Harris boobs.
Your wife's going to go through your computer and go, what the hell do you do out there?
Oh, she's seen worse. She's seen worse. I'm not seeing any revealing Kamala pics. There's a bad Photoshop of some chick with some big cannons, but that's a pretty bad Photoshop. See, me and Aaron were kicking around this idea the other day. For a new segment for Fence Post Politics, and because frankly, I'm kind of proud of Nancy Pelosi's tits. Like, it gives me pride as an American that even though she is an evil scumbag, at least she's repping the United States of America well with big old grandma titties.
Yeah. 30 years ago she was probably hotter than a $2 pistol.
Yeah, so I mean, like, it's at least one thing to say, like, we can rip all these politicians all we want, but like, we can look at Germany, or like, we could look over at England and be like, you had fucking Boris Johnson. Like, nobody liked Boris Johnson either. Nobody likes Nancy Pelosi, but at least she's got big tits. Okay.
Yeah.
So fuck off. You got bad teeth and bad hair, and not. I'm probably big tits too, but like, come on, Nancy's are obviously better.
Right.
So America wins again.
Yes.
I mean, that's a lot of mental gymnastics I went through right there. But hey, it works. I'm not finding anything on Kamala's titties, so I'm guessing they must be nothing to write home about.
Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah, so that'll be a segment. I'll have to. I can't remember exactly the details, but we got a good segment coming up, and it has to deal with dicks and tits. So.
Well, yeah. I would expect nothing less.
See, like, I like setting the bar low. That way, like, you know what you're getting, and then if I do say something smart, you're like, hey, that's a little bonus there.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't expecting that, but good for you.
Yeah.
So what's new in your world? It's been a while since we talked.
It has. Well, so I'm kind of helping run a ranch here in southern Idaho. It's the Lazy Rockin' Ass.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I don't get to get in the saddle every day, but it's pretty well once a week, and I'll take it. And, it's a steady job, good pay, good benefits.
Yeah.
Can't complain too much about the hours, and I get to be a cowboy every once in a while, so.
There you go. You got your own horses? They got company horses? Or
No, I'm riding company horses, and I'm trying to get a few outside horses picked up, but I haven't been able to yet for the most part.
Yeah, well, how's your string?
They're young and they don't know much. But they're learning.
Those are the ones, like, the real nasty ones don't really make you all that mad. You just, like, because you know what's coming. It's the ones that don't know anything that make you mad because they don't know anything, and you're trying to tell them, and it's not clicking, and so you either get mad or like you'll try a couple different ways, but eventually you just get mad and you try to force it, and then it's not good on anybody. But that's And those horses usually ain't doing anything wrong. They just don't know.
No, they just don't know. The ones that really make me mad are the ones that are old and broke and know better, and they do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones that really get me.
Just out of spite, too.
Yep.
You can feel it. You're just like, they just want to be a dick.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I know what you mean. They'll, it's like in the feedlot, they'll just shortchange you enough to just ram your kneecap right into a post.
Yep.
And you're like, if you would have just moved your ass in like I was asking you to. And I was asking nicely, you know, I'd touch you in the belly with my spur to kick that ass end over. And then they just don't, and they just turn, and then, just ram your knee into a post, or, you know, like hang the gate rod in your cinch, and you're just like, you know better than that. And this hurts, and you know it hurts them too. Like, especially like when they catch that gate rod, you know.
Oh yeah.
That they feel that shit. They feel it more than I do. It's the post one that piss me off. But But you get hung up in a gate rod, and even a broke horse will sometimes get stupid on that occasion. So So it just, but you're at the same time, it's like you caused that. You know better than that, you son of a bitch.
Yep. I had a couple pack horses in my string with the Forest Service that were like that. Yeah, they knew better, and they do fine 9 times out of 10. But every once in a while, they'd have to, you know, swing a switchback wide or something, and then they'd hang a pack up in a tree or bounce off a tree and start about half a wreck. And it's like, you know better than that. And I guarantee, you know, you got 75, 80 pounds in a set of box panniers, and they bounce that off a ponderosa or a lodgepole, and it beats them in the rib cage. It hurts.
Oh, yeah.
But they're just doing it to be ignorant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just out of spite, be petty. Horses are some of the pettiest animal. Like, they're not as petty as a cat. Cat's probably the most petty animal of all time. But a horse is got to be top 5, I'd think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, especially mares. Mares are real petty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. My good paint mare, she, you know, she's a real good horse, but she had an aversion when I first got her to crossing ditches and creeks.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that second or third ride I put on her, we were an hour crossing a ditch.
No, yeah.
And, you know, my brother's yelling at me like, we got the cows gathered, just come on. And I'm like, no, we're crossing this ditch.
Mm-hmm.
And well, when she finally crossed it, she gave a big jump. And I was just happy at that time that she crossed the ditch. Well, fast forward 2 years, and she never had got over the habit of jumping every ditch or everything. And so I was helping a neighbor gather some yearlings out of a lease pasture, and they kind of missed the gate and broke hard. And so I kicked up into a lope trying to get ahead of them, cut them off, and screaming across this pasture. And all of a sudden there's a ditch, and, you know, it's 6 inches wide and 10 inches deep. There's no water in it, and she can step over it just fine. No, she gets right up to it, sucks back, drops down to the ground. My stirrups bounce off the ground, and she launches. About blows me half out of the saddle, and I land on her neck in front of the saddle horn, and then come back up over and underneath, and she jumped. I mean, didn't really miss a stride. We still got in front of them, got everything headed, but she just got a jump. And she's like that to this day.
Oh, that gave me kind of like a PTSD flashback to my Mustang mare. So there's this it's pin 32. The back gates at pin 31 and 32 is the low spot in that alley, and it's kind of about the low, or it's the most water collecting spot on the yard outside of the the places that are supposed to collect water.
Yep.
And so it gets real deep, sticky, thick, and then it always happens in the winter because what's the best time to have a water leak? Right when it's just butt ass fucking cold.
Yeah.
And yeah, so water line would break or something, and then water would run all fucking night, pool up down there, and then those two gates were just shitty. And this Mustang, like I'd got her going, and she was coming around all right, but like she's like a typical Mustang, just stubborn as shit. Nothing like real mean about her, but just like when she didn't want to do something, like she'd just kind of saw up, and then she'd get kind of nasty. She'd start biting and shit. And but like there was never any like she wasn't trying to hurt you. She was just like, fuck off, I'm done.
Yep.
And so we're up at the edge of this this little deal, and I'm trying to get her just to follow where the cattle have already gone and broke the ice, and it wasn't real thick ice, but it was thick enough to where, like, I don't know if I want to walk right across the middle of that.
Yeah.
I just as soon walk right along the edge where it's already broke.
Yep.
And but after about 30 minutes of spurring and whooping and everything, finally got another horse up behind her and just kind of pushed her, and she just bailed off right into the middle of it. And I'm just I kicked my feet out of the stirrups just in case she went, because I'm like, oh fuck. Yeah,
yep.
I can just see her landing, and all four legs just going.
Yep.
And you're like, oh. And then we fall through, but luckily we fell through, and it was real boggy down at the bottom. So there was about 8-10 inches of water underneath the ice. There's just maybe a half-inch ice.
Yeah.
Across, right in the middle. On the edges it was pretty thick, but like when you how it goes. Like,
oh yeah,
right there on the edge is real thick, and then in the middle is about a half inch, and then she landed, but then it just bogged her down, and luckily she had to go ahead and walk out of it because it was too far enough for her to, like, she could have jumped it if she would have got her feet, but she got so bogged down. She only jumped a little bit, and by that point, like, I'd kind of had her checked up, and then she had to walk out of it, and then we went right back through it a couple different times, and she still don't like it, but she'll go, and she doesn't jump. But but that if it hadn't been for that ice and that bog at the bottom, she'd still be jumping. I'm almost sure of it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I've crossed her. Well, I've crossed so north of where I grew up there, then the Brown Duck River, it takes her 3 jumps to get across that.
Oh, okay.
But she'll jump, land, come out of it, and I never have got her to get over the habit. So you get used to riding it.
Yeah, I guess it's where you need like a good shallow creek and just ride her right straight upstream or something like that.
Yep.
She got tired. I don't know, but even then, like, eventually you run out a good creek bed to walk down. So, especially in your part of the world, there's, it just when you're out on the plains, you can get away with that a little bit better. But you run out of like good crossable or traveling stretch of creek bed pretty quick.
Oh yeah.
So, how's the calf crop looking? Or how's shit looking getting bred back this year?
So far it's looking pretty good.
You guys having to cull hard or?
No, we didn't. We came out of the winter pretty good. So we crossed all our first calf heifers last year. We crossed back to they were AI'd back to a Wagyu bull. And we're going to do that again this year because I'd never run with that Wagyu cross before.
Yeah.
But my God, coming out of a heifer, that's the calf you want. Little bitty body, great big long legs, and those things just hit the ground, bounce right up, and go to hunting a tit. I mean, I was really impressed with that. So we're AIing all our heifers back to that Wagyu again, and then everything else seems to be going good. We cut out, me and another guy cut out 85 pair and some bulls today and sent them up to the north end of the range and head of everything else just to kind of get them up there, get them on some. We got some new water troughs put in, so we kind of sent these ahead of everything to start utilizing that feed because it's kind of dry and getting short down on the low country, and everything's looking good so far. So I guess we'll see. We'll see when we preg check in October.
Yeah, there you go. Good enough, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering. I know there's some people culling pretty hard. The heifer slaughter was way up. Cow slaughter's been up a bunch, and yeah, we're it's just one of those things like I don't know. It's what are you gonna do when there's no grass? You gotta you gotta cut cows and It makes for a good calf market for a little bit.
Yep.
Until it rains again, and then
Yeah. And we're pretty lucky where we're running. We're running probably 75% private ground, and then in between lease ground, and then the ranch ground, and then running a little bit on BLM and Forest Service, and that the Forest Service range, it's looking pretty good. I haven't had a chance to ride out onto the BLM yet, but from what I hear, it's pretty good. That's up north of Soda Springs, and apparently they got some good snow this year, and they've been getting some pretty good rain. So
yeah. Well, that's and like once you're out of those like little meadows and stuff, like it's pretty deserty out there, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of a lot like Nevada, I would imagine.
Yeah, we've got some. Well, last year we put in about a half dozen water troughs up in. So we drilled 2 wells and ran them off solar. We put in about a half dozen water troughs up there in the Aspen on the north facing slopes, because there wasn't. It gets good feed, but there wasn't no water to hold the cattle there. And so we put those water troughs in, and this year it should hold them. So hopefully we can utilize a little bit more of that range, and things should be pretty good. And I think we're on schedule to drill at least 2 more wells and put in another 10 to 15 troughs on those. So
okay. How far down you got to drill for those?
The ones we drilled last year, they hit water at about 40 feet.
Okay.
And they hit really good flowing water. I think it's flowing at like 80 gallon a minute at 150 feet.
Okay, that's not too bad then.
Yeah.
You don't have to go too far.
Yeah, you don't have to go too far there.
My brother-in-law was telling me they're in western Kansas southwest Kansas, and so like just over the line from where my dad's at.
Yeah.
And they got the same deal, and he said they're going down to 400 feet.
Ooh.
And they're getting 500 gallon a minute for a little bit, and then like a couple months later it's back down to like 100, 120, 150 gallon. And so like it's because from what he was telling me, like where they're at, the Ogallala's played out.
Yeah.
So they're going down to whatever the one below that, and there's water there, but it doesn't have the flow that the Ogallala did. And so yeah, like you'll get for a minute where it's like good, like big heavy flowing well, 500 gallon a minute, and then it like a couple months later it's trickling down to to 120, which yeah, like you said, when you're drilling 150 feet, that's good.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, when you're punching all the way down 400 feet into that next aquifer, and
yeah,
I mean you're dropping off that bad that quick. I mean, it's like eventually that you're gonna run out of water there, and then like there's a big chunk of the country there that's just like not gonna be habitable. Like, it's gonna be a literal desert. It's kind of a semi-desert now, but I don't know. It's weird. I wonder. I just all that shit kind of makes me wonder how it's all gonna pan out.
Yep.
So I don't know. It's like you guys. A lot of your water come from Colorado, or is it like headwaters there in Utah?
Well, a lot of it comes here in Utah. It all comes from the snowpack back home. It came off the south slope of the Uintas, and then here it's coming off the western slope of the Wasatch.
Okay.
And then there in Idaho, it's coming off of those. I'm not sure what mountain range that is. Whatever's west of Freedom, Wyoming.
Okay. Is that the Bitterroots up there, or is that in Wyoming?
I think the Bitterroots are a little further north there in Wyoming. I want to say this is the Grays River range, but I could be wrong.
See, I'm such a fucking flatlander. I'll throw out these mountain ranges like I know what I'm talking about, but like, shit, I couldn't tell you. I can tell you like the different national grasslands back in my part of the world, but I couldn't tell you. We had one mountain that was Two Buttes Mountain, and it wasn't even a mountain; it was a butte.
Yeah, you're out from where you can watch your dog run away for a week. So,
well, it's people come out there and like, this is Colorado. Like, yeah, kinda. I mean, on paper, yes. But
yep.
In actuality, it's either, I mean, take your pick: Oklahoma Panhandle or Nebraska or Kansas.
Yep.
You know, and yeah, like I said, take your pick. So that's why we all still claim Colorado.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it ain't Texas, so you're doing all right.
I shit on Kansas pretty hard when we did that live show down there, and I got some pretty good laughs. I only got a couple stink eyes out of it, but I think that was more because of the sound system than the jokes. So I hope, anyways.
Yeah, that's your story, and you're sticking to it.
Exactly. So like, if anybody's wondering, it was awesome. Everybody laughed. Everybody said it was the best time ever. So, if you'd like to have me there for a podcast, let me know. Let's figure it out. I need to. I wanting to get out and do some more of those. Those are pretty fun.
Oh yeah.
They get a little rowdy, but they're pretty fun. And I wasn't sure how it was gonna work with just doing it as a comedy show and without any. I mean, Eric played some guitar at the end, but like it was mostly just a storytelling comedy show, and I think it would have really went over well if we had a better sound system. But like the people that heard it really enjoyed it, and the people that like were trying to hear it thought, they're like, I think it's funny. I don't know. I can't really hear.
Everybody else is laughing, so.
Yeah. So it was fun though. So, yeah. If you got a spot in mind somewhere near you, hit me up. We'll try to make it work.
I haven't been there yet, but I hear there's a pretty good little cowboy bar down here in Ogden called the Outlaw.
So yeah, because Ogden's what, an hour or so from Salt Lake?
About that, yeah.
Okay. Well, check it out. Let me know what you think. If it works out, we'll try to get them to fly me into Salt Lake and do a show like that. That'd be pretty cool. I know I've got some listeners around in that area.
Yeah.
So I just need a couple of people that'd be willing to shoot the shit on stage, and then that makes for a good show. And I like if you have a couple different people up there, even if they somebody gets a little shy in front of crowds, you can get. Once you get to telling stories and have a few beers in you, then people tend to loosen up even in front of crowds. So it works a little better when you have a couple different guys, but you know how it is when a bunch of cowhands get together and start telling stories. We gotta one up the guy before us. So the stories get more ridiculous as the more they get told, and that's what makes the bull sessions fun. Is it just like, you don't know, you never know what topic it's going to be that'll set off a good story, because you always think it's going to be a horse wreck or something, and you'll get some like kind of generic horse wrecks, but I don't know. But I was telling somebody the other day, like the reason cowboy stories are always so good, and it's the same reason with like a lot of military stories, because 98% of the time nothing fucking happens. You're just out there by yourself and everything goes whatever, and you're just there alone with your thoughts. So the only good stories you have are when shit went way wrong.
Exactly.
Because that's the only excitement that ever happens. Because if you're out there doctoring and you're like, you can tell about a cool loop you threw or whatever, but it doesn't make a great story. At the end of the day, you got your cattle doctored, and it's just like, another day. But like when shit goes wrong, whether your saddle breaks or whatever, like you get caught, and as you're going to the horn, that cow stops and then like sucks up underneath your horse or something. Like that's when the good stories happen, because you're just like, oh. I'm not alone with my thoughts anymore. Like
Yeah,
I'm still
yeah.
alone with my thoughts, but my thoughts are a lot different than they were. I'm
Yeah.
not pondering conspiracy theories. Like I'm trying to figure out how the fuck I don't die.
Exactly. Exactly. On that note, so back when I was packing for the Forest Service, I had an old bay horse that I rode. It was a government horse,
Mm,
and he was a pretty good
a
saddle
good
horse.
one,
So
I'm
that,
sure.
oh yeah, yeah, he was a good one. You know, it was kind of the strawberry roan. And strawberry roan was a bay, just
Mm,
one of them big, fugly, kind of bronky looking
yeah.
thoroughbred, and but he was good to ride other than he throwed everybody else off a couple of times when I got him. And so I just drug him behind a pickup for about 4 miles and then stepped in the saddle and started riding him. And he did good. It's a couple of years after that, we're up in this basin and I run into this bunch of Boy Scouts. And I had the saddle horse and I had a pack mule with the day's worth of stuff on it. And another guy with me. And we rode up and we were talking to these Boy Scouts, and just, where are you coming from? Kind of see what the trail was like and this, that, and the other. And it was a nice warm day. And, it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I wasn't, nothing was going on. So I kicked my right foot out of the stirrup, looped it up around the horn and kind of relaxing and pulled out my sack of Makins. I was smoking roll your own cigarettes. I was rolling me a smoke and just got that sucker rolled and licked and stuck in my lip and just struck the match to light it. And this horse had a thing. If the pack horse you were leading, if that rope got down, touched his hocks, he would blow.
Oh
and
yeah.
he would blow hard. And so I just barely got this smoke lit, and that mule behind us drops down, take a bite of grass, and that lead rope touched that old bay horse's hocks, and he blew.
Oh.
And his first jump, he threw me off and up and onto his neck in front of the saddle horn. And I was bucked off. By all rights, I was bucked off. But the next jump, he jumped right back underneath me. And we did that for, I don't know, 7 or 8 bucks. He had me bucked off the entire time. I blew my left stirrup second jump. And so every time he jumped, stirrups would come up and clap in front of my nose. But he just kept landing underneath me, so I couldn't fall off of him. He finally got his head picked up and stopped. And the old boy that I was with looked at me and he said, "My God, that's pretty good. You didn't even drop your smoke."
I'll have to ask Boots if he dropped his smoke when that wagon went clattering across the Canadian there in Paladin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was same type of deal. He dropped the reins on that because he was they call it the hoodlum wagon out there. Everybody's bedrolls and teepees and shit get thrown onto the hoodlum wagon, and the low man on the crew gets to drive the hoodlum wagon. And he said this team was a team of bucking horses, and they were broke to drive that wagon, but he said they were not gentle.
Yep.
Yeah, he dropped the reins to roll him a Bull Durham, and off they went. And next thing you know, he said as he went charging by the cookie. Cookie was telling him to bail, so he did, and that wagon ended up upside down in the Canadian. Everybody's teepee and bedroll just got soaked. But I never did ask him if he kept the smoke. But I'll ask him on Sunday if he answers when I call him on Sunday. I'll ask him.
Yeah, there you go.
I got him to talk about some pretty good broncs on this past weekend. So if you're a Patreon, it's on there. If not, and Spotify. Spotify, there's a kind of cool now. There's a subscription service deal on Spotify, so all my Patreon episodes I put up there, and it'll show up as a paid deal. But it's $4.99 a month, and so you and I think like this whole video will be able to upload. Like they're still working on it, but it'll be like when you're watching Joe Rogan, like where you have the video there, but as soon as you lock your screen, it's still like it just keeps on playing like nothing. And so it's kind of cool. It's so anyway, I know there's a couple people that asked me about the Patreon stuff on Spotify, and up until now there wasn't a way to do that because it just
Yep.
the way Spotify was set up, like you couldn't like import a private feed. You could just do like your main feed, and for whatever reason, I don't know I know just enough to kind of know why, but I don't know if they could fix it or whatever. But whatever the fuck, now they're all the Patreon episodes will be on Spotify, so you just gotta,
Yep.
anyhow, so
Well, good to
yeah.
know.
Yeah, so and all the Boots episodes, I think I've got a big catalog I've discovered. I've got like 400 and some episodes, so I'm just gonna keep like the last 100 as free, and then everything else. If like you want to go back, you can subscribe, and then we'll have them. But so that all the Boots episodes will be on there, and then yeah, if he answers on Sunday, we're recording a little podcast, so.
Well, good deal.
They're not the hour-long ones like we used to, but there's we can get 15, 20 minutes out of him before he gets tired. So
Yep.
he's what a guy. That guy.
Oh yeah.
He literally is like the cowboy Forrest Gump, but like
Yep.
retarded. Like he's there's no doubt he's a smart dude, but he's seen so much shit.
I'd like to just have a look at half the shit he's seen.
Oh man, when he was showing me around his little apartment there at the Sixes, he all the awards and stuff he'd won, and then like he was a ranger, even though he wasn't like your stereotypical ranger, but like he got a ranger badge for his brand inspection stuff, and and actually did some like police work, and so he had his I saw his his badge and his he had a bunch of cool guns, and just I do like that he's still got the dinosaur bit hanging in his tack room, so that's cool.
Is he riding that bit, or
one of the younger guys is riding it. One of the younger guys really liked it, but the horse he was in the same situation I was. I really liked that bit, but none of my horses, the ones that took to it, I didn't. It was too stiff for the feedlot,
Yeah.
It was it was a low port mouthpiece. With stiff cheeks. So, and it wasn't aggressive at all, but like it would have been a really nice for like a 3-4 year old out on if you're outside.
Yeah.
Because it was just enough to like start moving them into a solid mouthpiece, because it wasn't real severe.
Yeah.
And still look really nice, but in the feedlot it's just too stiff. I like a broken mouthpiece in the feedlot. You're just in their face too much, so.
Yeah.
But one of the hands down at the 4.6 is riding it from time to time, and yeah, Boots has got it hanging up in his stalls, so.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Made in Oregon, traded for it in Nevada, and had to fly into Denver and then drive down to the Sixes to give it to him. So it's seen a lot of miles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's you got any of those old timers like that out your way? Where
not many left. There's so the guy that
on Boots's level that caught that kind of level of notoriety or fame or whatever you call it. There's not that he sought it out. He just happened to fall into it, and but yeah, like your part of the world, I mean, there's sure enough a lot of good outfits out there, but like it's not in Texas. It's not like 4.6's level type stuff, but I'm sure there's hands.
Oh yeah, there's some good hands around, but all the old ones, they're pretty well gone.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these younger kids, they're not worth, and they ain't worth pinch pup shit. So
yeah, I've noticed that about a lot of the younger buckaroo types, and like if you're one of those guys, I'm probably not talking about you, but so don't get all butt hurt. But it's it was the same back when I was like 25, 26 back in in Colorado, Kansas area. You know, we had a bunch of people wanting to be Texas punchers, and you know, had a 6-inch brim hat tacoed straight to the sky, and big old Mexican rowels on their spurs, and you know what? But like they just weren't worth a pint of cold piss when you actually had to go do work.
Yep.
And I've heard this a lot from some of the older guys out here, and I think it's kind of a constant thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of these young buckaroo types. They like the silver and they like the style, but they lack the horsemanship. And that's one thing that you know, like every cowboy's proud of their horsemanship, but like the buckaroo types take it to a different level.
Yep.
And you know, and it's all traditional and like so there's. But I think that's the younger generation in general. It's always that way, you know.
Yeah.
Can you imagine like the old time vaqueros when the first time they saw a nylon rope?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure they just about had a fucking heart attack, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, then you use them a little bit and you're like, oh, well, these things last a little bit longer than a riata when you're using them hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things that eventually it becomes undeniable, but like technology has worked and you're just like,
yep,
all right, this polyester rope works pretty good, this nylon rope works pretty good, you know, like there's still a lot of guys, I wouldn't say a lot, but there's some guys that still use a riata and know how to use it, but like I would say damn near 10 times out of 10 when you ride into a Brandon pin, it's going to be a nylon or a poly.
Yep.
Like you might have one or two times out of 100 you see a guy with a riata.
Yeah, I went to a couple Brandons this spring, and there was one guy there on two of those brandings, that same guy that was roping with the riata, and he was damn sure handy with it. I mean. He was damn sure, and he was a younger guy. He's probably 5 years or so younger than me.
Okay.
But so it was kind of fun to see.
I've seen I think 2 maybe 3 guys throw a riata at Brandon, and one guy that could really fucking rope. Like I've talked about him on here before. Jesus Toledo. He can. He's an old Basco guy, and like, man, he just, like, he'll be at a, somebody will have one. It's typically one of those ones that have been headed to the fire about 4 times, and people have missed. And so, like, Jesus would come hauling ass from across the Brandon trap and still throw, like, a hip shot somehow. Like, and 2 feet.
Yep.
Like, it was just, and you're just like, I don't know how the fuck he does it, but it is cool to watch.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was one of the Brandons I went to, there was a kid, he was, I don't know, maybe 14 at the oldest. I mean, he wasn't very old. And he had this little scoop loop that he would throw up under his horse's neck.
Oh, yeah.
And he was just deadly with that. I mean,
I had a guy working for me from Arizona. Jimmy was his name. I forget his last name. Tall, skinny kid from around the Prescott area, and he had that little deal too. Like he had a short rope dallied on rubber.
Yep.
Kind of typical Arizona style. Big swells, low seat.
Yeah.
Grazer bit, and he had that same thing. He'd throw just like this little underhand underneath his horses, and And I tried it a couple times, and I for whatever reason, I couldn't get the timing. But I seen him, and I thought that was the handiest little loop.
Oh yeah.
He would just like, but he also had a chicken choker bit, so his horse's head was kind of high, and so he threw it under his horse's neck, and I was like, I might, and I was practicing there for a little bit, and I gave up, or I just quit. I need to get back to it. It's kind of like when roping and guitar is about the same level. I can do both about the same level, and I don't think I'd ever be real good at either one of them, but I could be pretty decent
Yeah.
If I'd work on them both. I work on my roping more than I do my guitar by a long shot. Both of them, like I could be decently handy at both
Yeah.
I'd keep at it. But I haven't. Yeah, I taught myself guitar in high school, and then I've like plunked around on it here and there, not much. And it's like if I would have kept at it, I could have been pretty dang good by now.
Yeah. That's if I'd have kept a lot of things, I'd have probably been better at it. But
right.
I liked horses way too damn much to.
I know what you mean. It's one of the there's I've also could have made a lot more money doing a job that I absolutely fucking hated too.
Yep.
And I just I don't know. I've been in those jobs where I've never took a job knowing I was gonna hate it. I've always been like pretty willing to do the job that I took.
Yep.
And then found out that I hated it pretty quick on a couple different times. But I've never gone into a deal knowing that I was gonna hate it. I'm not gonna. Even as a young guy, I was like, no, I don't care how much it pays. If it sounds like I'm gonna hate it, I'm just not gonna. And because there was one time it was for Coloram, which is basically Colorado State University's telemarketing service.
Oh boy!
So you called alumni and boosters and tried to get them to donate money to CSU, and I made it through one shift and said, "Yeah, I'm out." And they said, "Well, if you quit now, you can't get rehired back." I said, "Don't worry, I will not be reapplying."
Yeah.
No offense to you. Thank you for the opportunity, but I am out.
Yeah.
Yeah, my roommate Rob was, and he did it for like 3 years and was pretty good at it. Like he would get bonuses and shit for hitting however many thousands of dollars he got people to donate, and it's like, huh. And of course he's a Jewish guy, so the jokes were just outstanding.
Oh yeah.
Like you. It's funny. Like some of the early episodes, people probably thought I didn't. I really didn't like my buddy Rob, but no, he's one of my good buddies. Like he gave a speech at my wedding, and and I was a groomsman at his, and no, he's a Jewish guy, but he's my buddy, and I love to talk shit. It just makes it more convenient that he's Jewish.
Yep.
it just opens up a whole new avenue of jokes. And for his part, for all the shit, like me and Rob have argued to no end. He has never once got offended about me making a Jew joke, and never once got butthurt about him making a redneck or like a sheep fucker joke. It just comes with the territory. Like if you're gonna dish it out, you better be able to take it. And,
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So for his credit, like Rob is like we've argued about a lot of shit, but he's never got butthurt over a joke, and and that's why he's one of my good buddies still to this day.
Oh yeah.
I got no time for people that get butthurt over what's obviously a joke.
Oh yeah. And there's a lot these days which.
No, you're not supposed to talk about a lot of shit, but
yeah.
The bad part is like it's all the funny shit that you're not supposed to talk about. Like it's where all the comedy lies. And and it's not even necessarily talking down on these like protected class, whether it be the gay or the trans. It's just pointing out the funny shit.
Yep.
Like the fact that feminists are all on board for I guess for a lot of feminists nowadays are all on board from like changing the definition of or changing it from women to birthing people on like a major medical association or something like that, and you're just like you're a feminist, like you're all for the ladies. The lady, but yet you're willing to just like give up the title of woman.
Yeah.
like it takes a very distinct set of physical characteristics to make a woman, and now you're just like giving that up, and
Yep,
and now the dudes are dominating. And they're just like, it's so funny. Like, but you're not supposed to joke about that because it's protected class or whatever. And it's like,
yeah.
I don't know. I bet you the people that are actually trans, like the people that actually feel like they're born in the wrong body, are like, these people over here are nuts. You know, like these purple hair weirdos. Like, they're like, hey, I might have chopped my dick off, but I've never acted like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're also like, hey, I also didn't have to tell everybody in the world that I chopped my dick off, you know, because it was my deal. Like, that's the thing. Like, if it's for you, go for it. I don't care. I don't care. I just don't really care.
Yeah, that's.
But it's just amazing how like Bruce Jenner turns to Caitlyn Jenner and then becomes Woman of the Year.
Yeah.
Woman of the Year. And you're just like, all right. Well, I mean, like we were taught to, you know, we're the rednecks of the country, like, but we were taught to treat women with respect.
Yeah.
Because the fact that, yeah, we could beat the shit out of them, but also they can create life.
Yep.
So that's why you have to protect them, because they also can't, for the most part, can't beat the shit out of a man. So that's why you're around, to protect them so that they can raise your babies. And then, but now it's just like, no, I like, we don't even acknowledge women.
Yeah.
Like,
they're birthing people now,
and we're not supposed to joke about it either. That's the part that gets me. Like the rest of it, whatever, do your thing. But if I'm not allowed to point out what's funny about it,
yeah,
especially when there's so much to laugh at.
Yeah, there is. I mean, there's a lot of laughable stuff out here now.
Yeah, it's a never-ending deal, and it's funny just how many people are just like, they just like skip by, and just like, oh, can you imagine if some of the people like that are really, really good at comedy were actually doing what they're supposed to do right now, and like making fun of all the funny shit here? Because the ones that are fucking crushing it.
Oh yeah.
But there's some other ones that I'm like, man, I wish this guy would tell a joke about this, and and they're just like too scared to, because they're afraid of the backlash. And it's like, I think it's changing slowly, but still.
I hope so. People are way too damn serious. You ain't gonna get out of life alive. So
I know, and I really miss when people fought over football players and not politicians.
Yep.
Like, say what you will about how much athletes get paid, but athletes earn their money. Like they if they don't perform, they don't get paid.
Yeah.
And so like for whatever reason, like that's a far more legitimate argument as opposed, you know, whether you know, Patrick Mahomes or Russell Wilson is a better quarterback. That's a legitimate argument.
Yeah.
As opposed to, is Mitch McConnell or Chuck Schumer a better politician? Well, no, fuck both of those guys. You know.
Yep.
Like they're both just a leech on the entire country. But Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson actually, like, maybe they're overpaid, but at least they're doing something for their money.
Yeah.
Like they actually have to work at that shit. Like they have to work really hard at it. And and also a lot of people watch them. That's why they get paid so much.
Yeah.
Like that's the big thing, is people watch them. They pay to watch them. So but yeah, I miss those days when like those were the arguments about football and baseball and you know, movie stars and rock bands or country bands or whatever. You know, it's like when people say, like, I had somebody say that Tyler Childers is not country, and I was like, he is as country as Hank Williams Sr. Like,
yeah,
he follows like right in that same track. He's not country compared to what's on the radio nowadays, but
yeah,
like he's about as much of a throwback to the old school country as it is.
yeah,
But like I miss those arguments as opposed to like, is Biden better or is Trump better? Well, they're both a bunch of
yeah.
old clowns. Just like they're both idiots.
Yeah.
Like it's not even worth an argument. They both
No.
suck.
No, I kind of miss the days when, it took 6-8 months to find out that something had happened.
Yeah, I know. It's also like it's nice to know that it's happened, but also just like it's overwhelming how much shit the government has done, and you're just like, well, why'd you do that? That seems like a bad idea.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, don't worry, that was 20 years ago. We're just now telling you about it.
Yeah.
What? Who thought it was a good idea then? And you're just like, yeah, it's way more satisfying to talk shit about football or something like that.
Oh yeah.
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 I'm still of the view that like politics should be settled like UFC style.
I'd watch that.
I wouldn't pay for it, but
No.
I would watch it. I would,
Yep.
because they're going to be some shitty fights. Let's
Oh yeah.
You'll have a couple of like the Navy SEAL guys that are now running for office and the Green Beret guys that are in that will just clean house.
Yep.
But like, like if you had to have, say, like what's that chick from Tennessee? She's a senator, like Marsha Blackburn versus Nancy Pelosi. It would be entertaining for about 30 seconds, and then it would just like it would not be worth watching.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't pay for it, but
No.
I would find somebody who did, and I would watch it at their place.
Yep.
or I'd find an illegal stream, but yeah, I would watch it, and it would be a way better way to decide shit, because then you'd have to pick your fights.
Yep.
And yeah, these guys. That's one thing. Like with the whole Ukraine deal, is like, does it suck? Yeah, it really sucks for Ukraine, but also like, know who's on the other side. And if we go to war with them, that eventually leads to nuclear war, and nobody wins.
Yeah.
So, like, as bad as it sucks for Ukraine, it'll suck a lot worse for the rest of the world. So let's just.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just like sorry, I hate to do it, but it's like when you put down a calf that you tried, but
Yep.
Sorry, buddy, it ain't gonna work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, they've done everything I can think to do, and it ain't working. So
it's like, yep, that's how it's got to be. Sucks.
Yep.
I hate it. I hate every minute of it, but that's how it's got to be.
Yep.
But I don't know. I think that's one thing. I've always said that kind of the parallel between the military world and the cowboy world is like you deal with death as a matter of fact way. Like you don't.
Yep.
You don't dwell on it because it happens. It sucks. And if you dwell on it, well, then, yeah, you don't get shit done. And
Yeah.
and then you do the stuff you are supposed to get done. You get it done in a shitty way because your head's not in the game. So you just.
Yep.
Yeah, you're like, oh, fuck, that sucks. And then.
Yep.
On to the next one. Like you gotta keep on moving. I know a lot of those military guys are the same way, and it breeds a really dark sense of humor.
Oh yeah.
But some of the funniest goddamn jokes I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
they're like. Those are jokes that are only available like on the Patreon level because they're not fit for the gentle public.
Yeah. Well, here I got a joke for you that's probably fit for the non-paying customers.
Perfect. We'll end that for the main show. We'll end it with a clean joke, and then we'll delve off into some filth for the after show.
Sounds good. So, guy. My partner told this to me today as we was riding out from sorting cattle. He says, so his buddy came home the other day, walked in the house, took his boots off, and headed for the couch. And he said, honey, bring me a beer before it starts. And she goes, what? And he says, bring me a beer before it starts. And he goes in, sits down on the couch, picks up the remote and turns on the TV and starts flipping through the channels. And she goes, what do you need? And he says, bring me a beer before it starts. So she walks to the fridge and gets him a beer and walks in and opens the beer up, and goes to hand it to him. And she looks at him. She goes, is that all you're going to do all fucking night? Is just sit here and watch TV and drink beer? And he goes, you're too late.
Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. And on that note, move your ass. We're burning daylight.
Your eyes up in the morning, beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horses kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. We'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Just together, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right.